Okay. So, because my neck feels a little um, out of the ordinary, I'm going to discuss the Eric Fromm idea about, see if I can remember, biophilia, which is the promotion of life or the lover of life, versus necrophilia, which is a lover of death and destruction. Now, how? Okay, so I mentioned that I thought that listening to recordings was a dead connection, but that's too vague to make that about necrophilia. I was talking about, okay, specifically with music. Okay, if the lyrics are especially if it's somebody that you want to be in a relationship with, such as how I experienced Ren. If I keep trying to brainwash myself with thinking about his emotional feelings towards me and listening to older recordings that are not were not made in today's present moment about how he feels about me or how I think he feels about me, then I that feels like it's a necrophilia kind of thing, that you should not be doing that to your brain because your brain thinks it's real, and then you think that there's this emotional connection going on now because you thought that it seemed like there might have been an emotional connection going on back then. But that's not the same as listening to a recording and trying to find some educational concepts and teaching yourself about what's going on with you or trying to understand other people. That's not the same thing. I would not call that necrophilia or a lover of destruction, death and destruction. Because why would you say death and destruction? Because you're you're either getting you're trying to feel an emotional hole about something that's not true. That's what I would say necrophilia might be. Now we'll probably have to try and explain that a little bit better. But what would a lover of life be? Well, whatever you're doing that helps you grow and experience a more loving and satisfying life. But um, now I wanted to make that point very clear that just because I said a recording could be considered a dead connection, I need it to be known. Even if I go back and look at my own writing or my own videos, I can still learn from those things to help myself. And the same can be applicable with the kind of material that I take in from the internet and people that I actually get into um, my regular, um, what would we call it? School, friendships, work relationships. Those things are important to me, especially when you don't have anybody to talk to in your hometown or anywhere to go where you have any relationships at all. You can't just cut yourself off. That's like the same thing that I said about how you can't stop talking to yourself just because you don't have a relationship, because it's not good for you. It's not good for you to do things like that. You need at all you've got to figure out how to keep yourself in a good state, in a good condition. So there are value things, but also when it comes to theoretical thoughts about what might be true as far as how the world works, and then you're thinking this idea, wondering about it, if because you don't know for sure that you're accurate in your guesses, and then you have somebody who tries to present you with information that looks like that is true. What do you do about that? Because it some things that you theorize about it are not things that you really want to be true. And it just because it's true in some cases does not mean it's true in all cases. There still has to be goodness in the world, or the world wouldn't be designed like it is. So there's like, I think better explanations will do some good for sure. But you just have to think about what you're trying, because the mind is extremely powerful. Okay, so if you're fantasizing or evoking strong emotional feelings on purpose for a person to try and bring that into reality, then I don't know what you're doing to yourself. So I think that that's something to be cautious about. That's words of wisdom to myself. It needs to be the truth, and you don't want to be playing around with things that you don't quite understand, because who knows? Who knows? But recognizing if it feels like that's not a good idea to do, and refraining yourself from doing that, I think is a mature thing to do.